Yo, 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 what's poppin'? Back with another video. Let's just hop in. We got a wonderful guest today. We got a new show for you. I hope all you guys had a good weekend, and I hope you guys have a better week. Um, yeah. Um, with no further ado, let's introduce our guest today. We have a really good friend of mine. Actually met through Make School. His name is Mark Kim. Mark Kim, what's up?
What's up, bro? How's it going?
Going well. It's going well. Yo, I'm really excited to have you on the show. You're one of our very first guests on the show. Welcome, welcome. Congrats.
I feel honored.
Tell
Thank
us
you.
about yourself. Thanks, my man. Thanks.
Um,
I guess my very first question for you is I know you're a Make School student.
mhm.
What is your track?
My track is mobile.
Okay, so you're the mobile track.
Mhm.
What does that entail? Like what languages are you currently like learning or specializing in?
Okay, so the mobile track then makes at least what Make School offers. We're learning about iOS development. So the IDE we work with is Xcode, and we mainly work with Swift, and we only touch Objective C when we're like connecting button functions.
Nice, nice. That flew over my head, but um, and tell me, how did you hear about Make School?
So I finished first year of college, right? And I'm pretty fed up with it already. I'm writing papers every day for professors to read, but I'm learning nothing about
What college are you? If you don't mind,
Hope College.
putting its name out there.
Hope College is great. It's great. I just didn't like what college was doing, not teaching me anything practical, right? To get ready for the job.
That's
So
fair. That's
I go
fair.
back home. I go back home and I search on Google like professions that don't really require a college degree. And computer science comes up, and I was like, all right, let's try this computer science stuff out. So I search up computer science schools, and I go on this Quora thread, and it's like, come to Make School. We teach all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, sounds cool enough. Yeah, so
You
I
know,
dropped out.
it's funny that you say that because I also really disliked college before coming to Make School,
Mhm.
and going through their program, I'm like, man, like I could do this for a few more years. I don't know about you.
No, I was
As
fed up.
long no, no, no. I'm saying like going to Make School. And the only
Oh,
thing
oh, May
I think I
school.
would add, I think the
Hmm.
only thing I would like add that would make me do it for a few years is like, getting paid, you
Hmm.
know?
Hmm.
But then again, hopefully this summer, me and you both, good. Sorry, I forgot to mention Mark is a senior. He's going to be graduating this summer. Congrats, congrats.
Thank you. You too, bro.
And hopefully these we're talking about two major tech companies today. And even though we might not say great things about them, I really hope both of them hire us one day. If, before we get started, I know you've like lived out the country,
Mhm.
and you've been around all over the world. Do you mind telling us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was born in Korea, and about after 4 months I was born, we moved to Mongolia. Then we moved to Ghana, then Mexico,
Oh,
then back.
I gotta keep track here. So we went where
Right,
first?
so I've lived in Mongolia, Korea, Mexico, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Trinidad and Tobago, and the U.S. Or I think I'm missing one.
I'll count about eight or nine. My man. How have you been? To the U.S. and Egypt. I got two. I got two.
Yeah, so
Uh,
definitely it makes you have an open mind. You gotta like understand that other cultures are not wrong, they're just different. Things are just done differently over here and over there and wherever else. So you just gotta understand that, accept that fact, you know.
no,
um
I hear that. I hear that. What's the longest time you've stayed in like one area? It sounds like you've been moving around a lot.
Yeah, I stayed in the US cumulatively now 8, 9 years. I think 8 years. Yeah.
Oh wow, wow.
Yeah.
And then outside the US, what where have you been most of the time?
I think Korea coming in with 4 years, around 4 years.
Nice, nice. North or south?
South Korea.
I just had to ask. I had to ask. All right. Well, thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for being on the show. Is there like a story or anything like um, I know when I first came to make school, I saw our very first assignment, which was Mad Libs,
Mm,
and I freaked out. You
yeah.
know, can you tell us a little bit about like your experience before coming into make school, and your experience, or I guess your skills and what you're capable of doing now?
Yeah. So before coming into make school, Jordan sent me this thing called Rant Camp, right? And
Hmm.
basically, it's a series of replets on about JavaScript, and it comes with YouTube video tutorials. And personally, when I first started trying to code in JavaScript, I'm like, wow, this is what I'm gonna be doing for the next 2 years. Like, oh man, this is hard. But I muddled through it, and definitely Mad Libs did freak me out too. I think up until CS 1.3, I'd say
And
I was.
and for for
Hmm?
for our viewers, CS 1.3 is was data structures, correct?
Yeah, advanced trees and binary trees, just trees.
Nice.
Yeah, up until CS 1.3, I feel like I was in all that. I was still a beginner, at least, because it's just how fast I could process all that information. It was all new to me. But um, now I'm learning advanced patterns in iOS development. I know how to start an iOS project and build it into an app that pulls API data or stores data locally or on the cloud. All that. So yeah, make school really did a good job. Like props to make school.
Yeah, man. I know you've been working. I remember working with you like a few months ago on on a iOS app, and
Hmm.
I made you use a new language that you haven't used before. I
Yeah.
always remember how you were like, "Man, if I was doing this in Swift, I would have it done in like 5, 10 minutes." And we would like just spend hours trying to figure out React Native and why it wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
React Native is just.
and we're getting better at it. We're getting better at it.
Yep.
Uh, Last thing I guess I have for you before we get started with our topic. Do you have any advice for our viewers or our listeners? Maybe they're interested in applying to make school, maybe taking the mobile track, or just becoming a software engineer in general.
Um, well, first, definitely apply if you're thinking about it. And if you do apply, you can't only just rely on the stuff make school gives you. You've got to do your work outside. Like that's what I learned until like the first semester of my first year here. I had to like look at external. I got to go on YouTube, search up how does this work, read Medium articles about data structures and all that. So yeah, but dude, definitely apply. It's a fun experience.
I definitely have to agree. And with the terms of going outside of like what make school provides in terms of YouTube and things like that, I also agree with that. And I would also like to add, it's actually super easy.
Mhm.
I actually feel like it's somewhat cheating. I don't know if the teachers know this, but there's a lot of like assignments that they give us, and then I'll just like Google like one or two words, and then boom, I'll find like a whole GitHub repo.
Yeah.
And then,
Short
oh man.
I guess.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show, and let's hop into our topic. Today, we're going to be discussing Apple and Facebook. They've been in the news recently with iOS 14. Apple, released or with the new, iOS, they allow users to know, or they notify users when they're using an application and they copy something and they go over to a different application and that application, copies it for itself. And I found that very interesting. Personally, I didn't know this. I always assumed Facebook got their information from us by the things that we post, the things that we like, the things that we share. So me myself, I personally limited my activity on Facebook. I left it on just because, simply my friends and family were on it. And it's funny. Facebook has become some sort of a thing where you're like, if you don't got Facebook, I don't know, what's up with you? Except there is that one group and I'm slowly becoming, I guess, part of that group where I'm just like, no, I think we got to stay away from Facebook just because they no longer have our trust. I don't know about you, and I guess what's your experience with Facebook? How do you use it today?
My experience with Facebook, I remember around third grade, my sister and her friends were talking about Facebook and how they have an account, and I kind of begged them to make me an account, but they never did. So as
your older sister and
my older sister, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, I still made an account by myself. I lied about my age. I hope come back to haunt me. that account, I've deleted that account, and I made a new one around freshman year just so I can play mobile games without it keep asking me connect to Facebook and we'll give you this much. But yeah, that's my experience with Facebook. I don't really use it anymore. It's just there. I don't go on it to accept friend requests or post something or like anything. I maybe go on it to search the Facebook Marketplace occasionally, but that's about it.
Why is that? And you've said a lot of things right there that I want to touch on or talk about. Bringing up your older sister. I remember one of my Sunday school or one of my church servants, when you found out I had a Facebook, especially because you knew my age, because I also lied on my age. I hope that doesn't bite me in the butt, later on. And I sent him a friend request. I was like, "Yo, yeah, me and him are homies. Let's be friends on Facebook." And I remember seeing him at church the next day, and he was like, "Man, you're not supposed to have one. I'm not gonna add you." Something about I was like, relax.
Mhm.
I feel like all the young kids when Facebook was very at first getting popular have
Mhm.
a similar story or similar experience. But I wanted to ask you why do you no longer use Facebook like we did 4 or 5 years ago, or maybe even a little bit longer than that?
Um, I don't know. I just stopped using it.
Did it slowly just die down for you, or is it just
Yeah,
you saw the older generation hop on, so you were like, I don't know if I feel comfortable posting this photo, with my dad being my friend and all.
kind of like that. Yeah. I guess once my church members started adding me on my friends, I'm like, all right, this is getting too much.
Mark, what do you do that you don't want people to know, huh?
Don't ask questions you don't want to worry about.
Well, let me let's continue. Let's continue. And how do you feel about hearing that applications have been? So let me take a step back. So iOS 14 is released, right?
Mhm.
Users are now able to know when an application that they're using has copied their information, right?
Mhm.
Facebook came out, and I actually think they filed a lawsuit, if I'm not mistaken, And they're claiming that this is going to cut their revenue. And it's because Facebook heavily relies on, copying information that you've saved, or let's say data that you were using on a different site or a different mobile application.
Mm-hmm.
And when you come to Facebook, they take all that, assess it, process it, and then show you ads based on that information. Can you talk about what you think about that?
Yeah. So first, my understanding of what's going on is so Facebook heavily relies on ads that are on their mobile or web platforms. And what Apple is proposing is transparency in terms of uh, what apps are doing. Like the user, if the user's hardware is from Apple, whatever platform that is installed in that iPhone needs to comply, that they got to let their users know that they're going to collect their data. So what Facebook side of the argument is, a lot of the a lot of small businesses are relying on these ads, uh, especially in a times like these in the pandemic. But that's all we know about. That's what they want us to know about. Maybe Facebook um, have some alternative motives other than selling ads when it comes to collecting our data. And yeah, and I heard the way Apple saves the user's data is all anonymously, and I don't know exactly how that works, but that's just what I heard. So yeah, Apple just wants some transparency in terms of privacy.
I think it's great that you said that, and it's I really like that word transparency that you use. I think we were talking earlier before the show, and I said that anytime we discuss like Facebook or just big tech or big data, we always bring out what happened in 2016 with Cambridge Analytica. And for the viewers that don't know, in 2016 in the U.S. election, and Donald Trump used, I really hate to say this because I know it brings up a lot of like controversy, um, but he used a tech firm that stole a bunch of data from Facebook. Facebook did know about it, and they pretty much analyzed that data and saw which users were most vulnerable to propaganda and would send them, you know, fake ads. And this is where like the fake news, started coming in. And I guess us people as a whole, we noticed that, and we saw that, hey, this is very what's the word, invasive, you know. And I think everyone, like communities as a whole, pushed for more transparency. So definitely kudos to Apple for pushing for that.
Mhm.
And I also like the very last thing that you mentioned, which is like, yeah, Apple has rolled out, a ton of, you know, new security features, um, like hiding your data. I know that I see now when I like sign up for new accounts or new applications, they even ask me, you're like, hey, but when you like log in or sign up with an Apple ID, they're
Mhm.
like, I don't know if you saw this. They're like, hey, do you want to share your email? You know, and when I say no, they like make this customized email for me. That's not even mine. So that like people are less likely to track me. So,
Mhm.
and I thought that was very cool, you know.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
um, with your experience with mobile, how hard do you think it is to code a Facebook app?
A
And I
Facebook
know that's a
app.
that's a big question, but just like the basic basic features. You know, if we break down Facebook as an
MVP?
app today,
Like an MVP?
sure, yeah, like an MVP.
Okay. I don't know. I'd say depends on how much pressure is on me, but if I'm doing on a leisurely or actually no, if I'm doing on a, let's say like a final project type of pace for like a mobile class, I'd say it would take me two, no, 3, 4 weeks. I don't know. I'm gonna need to do a whole lot of like researching first on terms of like connecting the database, because I don't know it off the top of my head. I can't just like go on and make a network layer.
So I guess let me tell you my follow-up question and why I asked you that. You know,
Okay.
Facebook is this big tech company,
Mm-hmm.
right? They employ hundreds of people, right? And you know, they're what they offer is software pretty much, right? This
Mm-hmm.
app, this Facebook app, right? And you know, I really like that you said it's going to take you about like 2 4 weeks to get a solid MVP,
Mm-hmm.
because you know, it's for me, I'm just like thinking about it. I'm like, what are they doing all day? You know what I mean? And again, I don't want to bash Facebook because I really hope one day, you know, work for them, and maybe when I do work for them, I'll get more clarity on what goes on in there, you know. But
Mm-hmm.
like once the application is finished, yeah, I understand there's maintenance that's involved, you know, there's updates, there's new styling, but the core functions and, you know, features are there, right? Like adding a friend, you know, um, posting something,
Mm-hmm.
liking something, sharing something, you know. Once you create these features, it's done. You don't have to go back to it again unless you're updating it or maybe new technologies out, so it makes it easier, faster, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But like what are you doing all day, you know? So I like it worries me, and this is why I've personally stopped, you know, using Facebook over the years, because you know, I start asking the question. I'm like, okay, like if the app is already done, you know, and like and they're still making a ton of money and growing and hiring new people, what is what is their end goal? What are they like working towards? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Um, so like I was, I guess why I'm bringing this up, I was actually in another conversation earlier this week, and they brought up something or they said something that I really liked that I want to get your opinion on. Going back to what happened with Cambridge Analytica and with a ton of fake news, and even today, even in this pandemic today, you know, and with these last, you know, this previous election, big tech like Facebook and Twitter, they've been forced to pretty much um, be the bearer of truth. You know, they decide of like what is going to be considered fact and what is going to be considered, you know, false or propaganda or fake. You know, and it's very powerful because we always say like, you know, the person who gets to write history, you know, is like gets to like rule the world. You know what I mean? So if they're dictating what is going to be written in our history books, pretty much, um, you know, like what is like their end goal, you know, and they haven't been right all the time. And what this speaker that the talk that I was attending, the speaker proposed, you know, to have like a fake news, you know, tax, right? So pretty much like when a company, an organization, and like when Twitter and Facebook, you know, allows these things to happen, there should be like a tax, on allowing like fake news to spread or to I don't know, um, be promoted. Um, I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on that.
So just to clarify, we're we're talking about how Facebook and Twitter are using that misinformation. This might be misleading, whatnot, and all that, right?
Exactly, exactly.
Um, well, it's definitely a difficult situation because uh, definitely we want let people to be less misinformed and want the right information being circulated, but this is just my opinion. But freedom of speech is what is speech? Speech is communication, communicating with each other. And these big platforms like Facebook and Twitter, when you post something or when you send someone a message, it could be argued that it's a form of speech. And letting them letting them or those big tech companies not allowing some individuals whatever.
Suppressing their voice pretty much, or
Yes,
taking away
but
their voice. Yeah,
I
yeah.
I also do I just want to say I also do want to say like I understand their position, like uh they want actual real truthful information being circulated. But the problem is like how do we really know? Like how do we really know what's going on? We only know what the news network tells you. We only know what your family members tell you, your friends tell you. But unless you've actually been through everything that's happened, how do you really know what is the real truth? So yeah, I just kind of take news articles in broad strokes. I don't take everything by the word.
I don't know. I think no. I heard we have some comments. Um, Let me see if I can try to pull them up. But Mark, my man, you bring up a very, I guess, good point. And I've always seen, like, when Mark Zuckerberg goes up and um, talks to Congress, or when Congress has subpoenaed him, he's always kind of like, "Hey guys, like, yeah, we understand that this is a problem. This is not really something that we need to decide on. It's something that like our government needs to like be like, hey, this is the way we're going to go about it, because it does conflict with, like you said, our First Amendment, which is freedom of speech. Let's pause for a second. I'm trying to get these comments. Can't seem to pull it up. Jordan, do you mind if I ask you to help us out and let us know what these comments are? Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, sweet. Yeah, yeah. So the comment is Facebook and Twitter doesn't decide the truth. They decide beliefs, thoughts, underground. Who decides what is fake news? Um, yeah, my man, or gal, lady. Sorry, my producer Jordan, by the way, is the one behind our ears, behind our mic. He is always taking care of us. So shout out to Jordan. Um, so so yeah, it's a very good question of who gets to decide what is fake news. And I think Mark, you touched up on that and answered that very well. Is that like, unless you haven't went through everything, unless you haven't experienced everything, like, who am I to decide or to say like, oh no, that is fake, no, that is fact, you know. And I think as coders, we have a huge responsibility almost, because nothing's being done about it, and um and we're the ones that are, like, I guess, behind it all.
Hmm.
Like we heard like Facebook employees quitting or threatening to quit, or writing petitions, or signing things. um you know I guess what I Facebook, if I apply, please, please hire us, because we would love to tackle these issues. And that's another thing. What is so cool about coding, it's that, like, yes, we're behind the screen. Yeah, we're only like, we're coding or writing code, or working with data structures. We're working with bugs all day,
Hmm.
but there's an application to this. There's some practicality to it.
Hmm.
um we have about like 15 minutes left. um nice. And my producer's telling us that we have another comment. And it says, I agree with free speech, but do note that Facebook and Twitter are private companies. If we allow government to impose more regulation on private business, especially regarding speech, this is also a threat to freedom, the freedom of how a private business is allowed to operate. Perhaps instead of more censorship, we should focus on education. Wow, that was powerful. That was powerful. Um, I guess you want to let's use the last. I don't know. That's a great question. Should Facebook and Twitter, or social media, be a private company? I don't know, Mark. What are your thoughts on that?
Um, I definitely don't like the idea of corporate and government being intertwined. But
Yo, what you mean? Don't hate on my Green Bay Packers. My Green Bay Packers are state owned, and
but yeah, I agree with the perhaps we, instead of more censorship, we should focus on education. Yeah, it's a difficult situation. I don't think the government is imposing regulation on private businesses. It's just enforcing the First Amendment when they say you can't censor people. But yeah, it's a difficult situation. I would like people who spread like crap on the internet regulated. You know, definitely clean up the quality of information going around.
it's. I feel like every time I think about this, the answer at first like seems easy. You're just like, yeah, let's start off by like, like, for example, like, when I agree, definitely we need more education. But then when you break that down, and you see what that entails, right? It's it kind of forces these companies and these our governments to go after the people who aren't educated. But then that in a way is also suppressing their like you know their speech, or what they believe in. Just because like you don't agree with it, you know or just because like the people as a whole don't agree with it, is it then still like wrong? You know what
Hmm.
I mean? But then again, so like, if we allow that to happen, right? You give people, like, the power to be like, cancel culture, right? They'll pull up an old like tweet of yours, or they'll pull up like a certain video or what have you, and then you get a bunch of people to watch it, say something about it, get them to believe a certain thing,
Hmm.
and like, you know, boom, like Kevin Hart can't host the Oscars. I don't know if you guys remember that,
I
right?
remember
Because of
that. Yeah.
some homophobic,
Hmm.
joke that he said a few years back, you know. So it's like it's hard. Like like I said, like at first the answer is simple, but then when you break it down, it gets hard. So I think what else like, man, what I do like is what how Apple's going by it. Is that like, hey, we know this is an issue. We know the answer isn't simple or the solution isn't simple, but we can be more transparent. You could know more about like what's going on. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, so yeah. Yeah, I love these comments to all our viewers. If you're watching us live, uh, please drop down a comment, drop down a like, subscribe. Um, yeah, yeah. Uh, let's see. Oh, nice, nice. Our producer Jordan just let us know that there's one more comment. I see what you're saying. However, the original intention of the First Amendment is a contract between government and the people, not between private business and consumers. We cannot easily change our government, so these safeguards are put into place. We can more easily change the companies we choose to support. Mm,
That is true. We do have freedom of choice to choose who we want to support.
definitely, definitely. The where you spend your dollar.
Hmm.
I love these movements of like, hey, support your local business, support small business, but just simply be aware of like where you put your money.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Um, so yeah. Do you think there should be more government regulation? Do you think the government needs to like intervene? Where do you see this like, I guess, moving forward in a few years?
I'm sure
Or
some.
where do you hope to see us be in a few years?
I don't know, man. Like coexist, learn how to live with each other.
Uh, I know this was supposed to be I guess like a tech talk, and I'm sorry that it got so, I guess, um, ethical. I feel like this is one of our like ethics class that
It's
me and
fine.
you are just like chatting it up. Um, but I think it just goes to show that like how much technology has like an impact on our lives.
Mm,
I know for me it's something that like inspired me to become a social engine like a software engineer. It's because I realized that there is a lot of social, I guess, impact that we have.
definitely.
Well, hey Mark, thank you so much for having us on, or for having or letting us have you on. Before we let you go, do you mind if you like, give me a little bit secrets of what Mark has been working on? Like, what was your last project? And what are you working on like next?
Yeah. So far, in terms of projects, at least, I've been working on. This was one of my finals for mobile. We have to make a app that a Spotify app. So what you do is you authenticate the user using their Spotify account and pull their Spotify data to populate views. And
Mm,
um, yeah, I've just been working on improving the UI. Adding a tracker like in terms of where you are, duration of the song, where you are at in the song. I can't explain this, but yeah, just improving the UI. Another project I've been working on. It's a small project. My buddy in Virginia and we decided to work on this. He doesn't code. He's the idea man. I'm the coder. So we're kind of building a messenger app. Um, But yeah, outside of coding, I've just been applying. I've got rejected by 5, hurts. You gotta keep going.
Well, you're gonna get it soon, my man. You're gonna
I
get it
hope
soon.
so, yep. Listen, Neon,
Real quick. Our producer had a very great question,
oh,
and
right.
they asked Mark, you know, hey Mark, if like, what is your dream job? What is a dream company that you would love to work for? Yeah.
Yeah, Neon, it's a very cool company. They make AI. I really want to work there. They're making some real futuristic stuff. Apple, definitely, you gotta pay respect to the OG, I'm building my career off their back. Um, uh, and Tesla, they're doing great stuff. I like Elon Musk too. So
Hey, that man's gonna take us to Mars. The man's gonna take us to Mars. And Neuralink, is
hmm
putting like he's trying to have us compete with AIs.
hmm
Dude is next gen. Dude is next gen. Yo, my man, I really hope you get that dream job.
hmm
I hope I get there with you too.
Hope so too, bro.
Thanks again. We're in it together. We're in it together.
This together.
Uh, Thanks again, my man, for coming on the show. It's honestly been great having you on. I know our viewers appreciated it, and yeah, hopes to see you guys next week. I know Mark is down to have you guys connect with him on LinkedIn. Mark, if you can drop that into the chat, and I can ask our amazing producer Jordan, if you could. Jordan, my man.
Thank you so much.
Sweet. Please reach out to Mark if you have any questions about maybe applying to make school, about our experience. Please feel free to reach out to us. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to talk to you. And yeah, if you like the show, please drop a like, and hope to see you guys next week. Oh.
Okay.
One last thing, if you haven't joined us on Discord, please do so. The link is in the chat. And Mark, my man, please join us on Discord as well. We loved having you on. We hope we can bug you a little bit more.
All right. Thanks for having me on. I definitely had fun.
Thanks, my man. I appreciate it. All right, everyone, have a good week, and hope to see you next week.